The next episode of the challenge series rapidly approaches. I have mentally forgotten what week it is. I'll probably figure that out throughout the course of the episode. I'm really good at this, can't you tell? I think it's 163. Double check that probably in the transition here. But we are starting at Tsukuba Circuit in the 525 class. By far the class that races here the most often. I feel like, personally, nothing else but maybe 600 should, but, well, shit happens. Week 163 is away, and wow, that debuting car does not get off the line very well at all. Holy shit. The Pole Sitter is one of the new cars for the week, a Sports 800 owned by Rain. This makes her the second member of our Art of Speed team to have a car in every category. The other one, Silica, being one of the cars that jumped her off the green. And she actually, I think, jumped from like 5th or 6th to 2nd place. One of the other new cars in the race is also up there near the front, Sun Lao. With the exit of drivers like Jingwei Zhou and a couple of others, he is the currently the only Chinese driver in the series going into this week. We have a couple. No, wait, that's not true. Hu Tao's from China. My brain was like, wait, what about Leon? No, she is from Hong Kong Island. He is in a first-gen Miata. And then we have Hanzo Nakayama running 8th at the moment in a Honda Fit. And currently sitting dead in the middle of the pack is the POV driver, Noir. In recent memory, it seems like her S660 is her most successful car lately. I have the audio wrong again. I'll eventually get this right, I swear to you. Looks like rain is holding up a lot of traffic at the moment. And I think Noir is in the prime spot to take advantage of that. Easily out-dragging the Sports 800 into 6th place. We're only a quarter of the way into the race. Looks like Nakayama is going to try to do the same thing. As it turns out, the pulsating debuting vehicle is the one that's the weakest, as Wow has made up multiple spots, even though he got passed by Thrasher a minute ago. And Nakayama is not doing too terribly either. He started in the back half of the field, no less. Looks like Honoka has run out of pace here. The Qashqai is not great in a straight line, which Thrasher takes full advantage of, and I think Wow is gonna slip through the cracks in the Miata. Yes, he is. He might have a chance with Thrasher here. Right on the brakes for the 400 car. In the background of this, Noir waits for Honoka to, well, basically let her by, because there's not much that thing can do to stop her. Honoka fought at the apex, but there was just not much that you can do against the lightweight S660 in this thing. This choice of vehicle is definitely a case of what was on hand. No doubt about that. Honoka, Noir chucks it down the inside of Thrasher at the final hairpin of the lap and gets to 4th. Has a run on Miles somehow as well. Some Mao, if you will. And contact made. Wow did not give her any extra room, and Noir is just going to kind of muscle her way by and then just easily get a strong run on the RCZ. No, Rise is going to brake really late, but it's not going to save her either. Silica at some point made a pass for the lead. Not exactly sure when that would have been. Looks like it was all the way back on lap 2. While we were still introducing the new drivers for the race, Silica just out-dragged the Peugeot on the way down to the final corner. And safe to say that thing's got a nimbleness advantage, so the final turn was pretty easy. We jump ahead to the start of lap 6, as Noir is in hot pursuit of that Copen. Unsurprisingly, it is going to be a battle of the Japanese K-cars to determine who wins here from Tsukuba, with now about 2.5 laps to go in the race. Silica's not going to be easy to take this from, I'm fairly certain, simply because she has been making this place her home lately. She is, every time we have raced at Tsukuba, Silica has been a threat to win the race there. But Noir has a lot of pace, so 104.1 was her fast lap, and she was in traffic for that. She's probably capable of a 3. Silica goes a little defensive into the final turn. Noir's not wavering. It's the run off by arcing the corner late properly, and that is the lead for the 7 car. And I'd be very surprised if Silica's gonna try and change it as I speak, but I don't think... No, she did get alongside. She just kind of startled Noir, I think. Didn't really expect that from Silica. Silica startling Noir, of all people. They'll continue to battle through the hairpins. Eventually, though, somebody's gonna have to win. Noir's got the hot feet around the outside. Meanwhile, Sun Lao is trying to get ahead of Rise and find himself on the podium on debut. The RCZ not letting it go easily. He has to measure his maneuvers carefully, as Thrasher is right there in the Suzuki if Lao puts a foot wrong. I think the battle for the lead is decided. Silica doesn't have the top end to contend there. But Lao certainly does, although... Oh, he's gonna go really aggressive there. I'm surprised no contact was made. How is that a clean pass? Let's see if Thrasher has anything to throw at the RCZ as well. A case of nimbleness, once again. The RCZ is relatively heavy for this class of racing. So Thrasher will not have any problems overtaking it. He's got half a lap to get the Miata, but Rise is going to stick her bumper down the inside, and that's going to throw off Thrasher's line. Looks like Nakayama may have had early pace, but it fell off towards the end. It looks like his fucking hybrid battery is drained, that's why. Yeah, that's why you don't buy a hybrid. Probably what happened to Honoka, too, when she got passed by so many cars. But no such shortcomings for Noir in that S660, who's going to take a victory at Tsukuba Circuit and clocking one a hell of a lap while she's doing it. Silica second, Sun Lao rounds out the podium on debut. Not really great debuts for the rest of the new ones, though, as Nakayama will bring it home in P10. He will cross just before the replay ends. Sun Lao actually beat Noir's time. He ran at 3.23. So, that Miata clearly has a lot of speed. He just wasn't as efficient at getting through traffic. But, even worse on debut is Rain, who winds up 17th after starting on the pole. And I guess I'll make a quick check to see if she got damage in the race, and if that's to blame or not. No, she didn't. She did not get damage at any point in the race. She was just not fast in this car. That is a massive yikes. Clearly some work to do for Art of Speed, if they're going to get that thing competitive. Champ Series coming here, big surprise. It shouldn't really surprise any of you at this point that we're racing here again. The 640 class will be taking to the track this time around, And yeah, as this little preview shot here shows, we actually used the short layout. We cut the chicane hairpin out. We just take a medium speed right instead. You don't use it very often, but we figured the 640 class, it kind of makes a little bit of sense. This class also has a lot of high-powered, old muscle cars in it, especially this race in particular. So it just kind of seemed like a convenience thing, like, there's going to be a lot of unwieldy cars here, so maybe we'll experiment with this layout and see how it affects racing. We are away from Fuji, and yeah, like I said, a lot of old American cars. You can just see each one of them drive past the camera as we get started here. Samuel Jansen making his, I think, second, maybe third start for Mopar Garage, just a POV driver, and he does well to avoid the turn one nonsense that damaged a lot of cars. How did Isabel get through that fine? What? Tokayama got a big helping of damage there. Conway, Sinon, Kachia, Noir got damaged. He was at the front. And Noir was on the outside, well, I guess the front row. Oh, she just moved under braking and got in Wanda's... Nope, that's not what damaged her car. I mean, that was kind of a goofy move to the side that could very easily have damaged her and Wanda's cars, but it didn't. That did. Rain piling right into the back of her is going to damage both of their cars. And looks like Rollins' brand new C2 Corvette remains clean through the first lap. Let's see, what else is there? I think that's literally the only new car on the track is Rollins' C2. I'm just looking at Dick Trivial's car. I'm thinking that either whether it's him or it's the already 7th placed POV driver of Jansen. Mopar Garage needs something this week, considering their first race with your expanded roster back at Watkins Glen 2 weeks ago left a lot to be desired, we'll say. Trivial was the only driver to get through the race without damaging their car, and there were at least 2 instances of Mopar Garage drivers running into each other. I think actually 3 individual cases of that. So I guess we'll go ahead and call the competitive field here down to 11, it looks like. So we got 9 cars in on lap 1, probably all from turn 1. And then there's currently a 346 from Mopar Garage, so it looks like they may be getting exactly what I just said. Assuming Sienna can eke out the position on Kotexa. No, round the outside goes the pickup truck. How did you let that happen? Yeah, NFR Ford, Mopar Garage, and Urban Estate, to a lesser extent, are out in force in this race. Wanda Glass kind of stuck in the middle of all of the American cars in her RX-7. I think she just let Jansen by, actually, which is interesting. He is going to take that and run. Try and shoot around the outside of Iris Aspinall to take the race lead away, and it looks like he will do that. Nope. Iris super late on the brakes, parks the bus at the apex in the Ford Escort. But he's not stopped. Around the outside again for Samuel Jansen, and I think that time is the one that's going to count. Iris looks at a move of the inside of the last turn. Jansen is not having it, and I have a sneaky suspicion that 68 Charger is going to be able to dust that Ford Escort out of the final turn. Looks like a pretty civil lap 2. Nobody else has gained damage. Dick Trivial has gained a lot of top speed. He's gonna blow Wanda Glass's doors off. Oh, and Glass is gonna get into him. Neither car damaged by that. Interesting. That's, I guess, say the line. That's the aggression we see from Glass, but it didn't actually get her anywhere, and Trivial actually converted that into another position on Iris at Specify, because Isabelle's back here in 9th, and she's still in a good spot to go further up from there. She's kind of stuck in traffic, but if she can get out of it, she's probably a threat to steal the podium anyway. Her sister is kind of hanging on to the spot for her at the moment. It is basically processional as we skip ahead to the end of lap 3. Isabelle should have a run though. That's the top speed in that Mustang. What is that? 175 hitting the limiter. So her gears are actually too short. She could have gotten faster than that, but she's still going to gain 2 places with the top speed she does have. Uh-oh. So Rollins is out dragging... Nope. Out of gears in the C2. Guys, it's Fuji. But he's going to whiff his braking point massively and find the back of Aspinall, rival team of NFR Ford involved in that, all while trying to pass a driver who's not even affiliated with the so-called Detroit Arms race in Wanda Glass. It's just here on Twister. Her teammate Gina's not even in the race, let alone the other 2 that's on the team that haven't shown up in a while. Yeah, so Rollins may be 3rd, but it's not going to last. And now here comes Isabelle to pick up the pieces of her sister getting smacked into, and I wouldn't be surprised if she has some unhappy words for Rollins post-race. I'm sure someone's gonna anyway, and if it's anybody, it's likely to be Isabelle. And this is pretty much exactly what Mopar Garage would like to see at the moment. They're already 1-2. Vic Trivial has found some crazy pace in that Superbird as well. Well, Samuel Jansen just kind of had the whole shot this race. This is going to take 2 of their rivals, one from Urban Estate and one from NFR Ford, out of the running. They're still going to have to contend with that thing. But we'll see if Sienna can maybe do some work here. She's looking for a 5th. She's struggled to get past Kotexa up to this point. Palmer wanted to take it 3 wide, is not going to engage. She's going to send it so hard on Kotexa that she's also going to try and get Glass by happenstance, and looks like it'll work. So Sienna's going to get 2 places at 1 hairpin. Isabelle is the only object in between Mopar Garage and a podium lockout at Fuji. I wouldn't be surprised if Isabelle manages to start challenging Trivial for the 2nd position, either at the bottom of the hill at the medium right, or in a drag race to the finish. Such as just the sheer magnitude of that Mustang in the mid to long spurts of power. Although everything in this kind of top 4 even really is an absolute powerhouse. Charger, Superbird, Boss Mustang, Challenger. It's a wonder the RX-7 and the truck are even keeping up. And then there's a Camaro, a Mach 1. Like, these teams definitely picked the right tools for the job. High power machines for this straightaway. But Samuel Jansen's is the most powerful, and probably got plenty of stability with its wheelbase, so he definitely had the best tools, as he is going to take victory at Fuji Speedway. That is a cool win to see. Jansen does not win often in this series. He has been here since day 1, but he's a journeyman, so this is a big deal for him, I would say. Old man still got some tricks. Trivial will come in 2nd, and Isabelle, as expected, it was a drag race to the line, but it is Trivial by about half a Plymouth. No, actually, that's depth perception. He was a full length ahead. I also don't know where the finish line actually is, but it is a 1-3-4 for Mopar Garage, so that is, as I said at the start of the race, that is exactly what the doctor ordered for them. That is solid momentum after 2 weeks of being on the massive back foot. versus Urban Estate Motorsports and NFR Ford. Oh, you want a drag race? There you go. Who wins that? Damian Kotexa by a neck will actually steal 5th from Wanda Glass, so that's going to be actually a 3-5-8 for NFR Ford. Yeah, no, he's not going to win that drag race. There's a lot of drag races at the line here. 3-5-8-11. Probably some angry words with Rollins post-race because he's the reason Iris isn't in the top 10. But, yeah, that is Fuji Speedway. The Logan's projected Michigan, Detroit, whatever arms race definitely in full swing. Wednesday brings us to the deserts. Yas Marina circuit will host the 675 class for Wednesday. And, yeah, there's not much else to report. Actually, we were originally going to run this race at sunset. Delays happened. It's actually very early morning, like 4:30 a.m. right now. But we also can't run here too late in the day because it gets hot, you know, desert and all that. We are green from Yas Marina. Find the 4-wheel drive car. Difficulty level very fucking easy. GR Yaris of Tony Berry is gonna jump out to the lead. And I do mean jump. Young, also in an all-wheel drive GTO, she's going to find 2nd early on. Colin Morris, 3rd, also 4-wheel drive. It's not even a long run to turn 1 here. So I'm just confused a little bit, honestly. Morris with an aggressive move, Noir with an even more aggressive move. Everybody wants to get moves into that hairpin. Noir will exit victorious. She's going to be 2nd from 4th. That is a gaggle right there. Holy shit. Grimes Jr., who's not made too many starts lately, he's going to be victorious on the way into the chicane. Looking pretty clean here, actually. That's a first. We don't get too many clean lap 1s here. That chicane, oh, okay, relatively clean. It's not perfect. And then whoever Reiko ran into didn't seem to damage their car either, so... the Lovebirds of Hanamura and Mishima have had a first lap to forget. Where is that POV? There's Rain. Already up to possibly 12th? Nope. Yep, maybe. Weird battle for the spot with Nilu. Actually gonna get 11th, because I think Silica just kind of let her by. Oh, nearly got into the back of Uni to the hotel section there. Yeah, Rain, as well as Isabel, and I think... No, not Silica. Yeah, Silica are all making their 3rd consecutive start this week. That is contact. That time she did hit the back of Uni's car, but again, no damage. Yeah, look, I think we're gonna only... Oh, Hu Tao. Is Hu Tao the one Mishima ran into? It's looking like no, because this is where Mishima has her damage. She runs into the back of... Uni, barely taps that Lexus and damages it. No, damages the 400Z. Doesn't actually damage Uni's car. Uni got hit a lot of times on this first lap, and her Lexus remained stalwart. God, it's a wonder nobody got damaged here, considering how messy this looks. You can hear a lot of contact, but nobody got any damage, except for Hu Tao didn't even get it here. What the heck? How did none of you wreck your cars? Heard a bunch of beating and banging. Oh, Isabel is the one that damages Hu Tao at the start of the hotel section. Again, doesn't damage her own car, but that's former NFR teammates under Noir's version of the team coming together. Rain will overtake her other teammate, Lifa, heading up the hill, and catch Elaine Young by surprise. So 8th for the RX-7. The other driver we don't see too often, Corpella, is running well in the Urus. He started mid-pack, as did Grimes, so they both have had strong starts. Stephanie Kaiser's rapidly approaching, though. Gets alongside the Urus, but is forced to come to a damn near complete stop as Grimes gets his entry really bad at the chicane. Noir will grab the lead at that chicane over Tony Berry, whose early momentum has stalled because really that was just a one-trick pony there in the GR Yaris. Grimes looks like he'll do the same. Yeah, Berry is officially fallen off in terms of speed. Kaiser will eventually end up with 4th over Corpella. And Rain is looking to put a move on Colin Morris around the outside for the RX-7. Barbara's gonna maybe get past the Urus as well. Yeah, but now she's got to contend with Rain. Rain and Corpella make contact at the final turn of the stadium/hotel section. Blah. Words are hard. Down the inside for the 226. I don't think Barbara was prepared for that, so that'll be Rain into the top 5. Go figure, Rain driving well in a desert, but Barbara has returned. The more horsepower on that Corvette, Rain has to allow for space, but Barbara is just not able to get the car rotated well enough to do anything with it. Yeah, Barry's pace is off. Rain just embarrassed her up the hill there. Now her sights are set on Stephanie Kaiser for a podium spot. Can't get going down the inside, can't put on the brakes late enough to catch Stephanie off guard. They're gonna have to pack a lunch to do that, and I can tell you that right now. Instead it's gonna be Kaiser who might be looking at a pass. Out drags the Mustang, can she get it finished? Looks like it. Noir just barely not in the way. Again slowing down to a crawl as she's pinched at the apex. Grimes has no traction on exit, and Rain will take full advantage of that. So she will end up with a podium spot anyway, but she's not going to be taking it from Kaiser yet. Instead, the 200 car is actually looking poised to try and grab the lead away from the TVR. Down the inside, Noir allows it basically. She did not have to give that much space. But Kaiser will detect the moment of mistake. She's going to be in the lead. Rain is going to again follow the 996 through. Now I'm surprised Noir didn't put up more resistance, considering Rain ran into the back of Noir at the start of Fuji yesterday. Oh yeah, Noir started all 3 races, that's right. Yeah, she won Tsukuba. I forgot that she was actually in Fuji when I said what I said about Rain, Silica, and Aspen. Not Aspinall. She was not in the first race. I said Aspinall, didn't I? She was not a Tsukuba, but Rain and Silica were. And now it's a battle for the race lead. Rain has followed Kaiser up the grid, basically. These two are almost undoubtedly the quickest cars on the track, so it is going to be a shootout with 2 laps to go from Yachts Arena. Around the outside again! Rain has that set of corners dialed entirely in. Kaiser close enough for a response, however. Yep, by way of response down the inside, no contest. I don't think Rain even tried to contend, even if she could. It doesn't really matter, she just simply did not try to stop the Porsche from just chucking it down the inside. It didn't hurt the Porsche's exit either. In the background, Barbara got ahead of Noir, so also former teammates. A lot of different drivers have worn the NFR logo on their cars, so I'm not really surprised. Rain has also gotten a lot of moves done at this particular long left-hander as well. If it hasn't been the little slight hill climb at turns 2 and 3. It's been riding the outside lane at this long sweeping turn, and she's gonna do it again. Kaiser was powerless to stop it, and she's not close enough to send it at the hotel section either. Kaiser's just gonna have to hang on resolute through sector 1 and just take it back from her either at the hairpin at the north end of the track or on the way into the chicane on the backstretch. The VRX-7 is Rain's apparently got this section of track handled. Everything after that chicane, Rain is untouchable at the moment. Looks like most of the field is kind of just settled into where it's going to run here. Mishima is not having a day to remember here, that's for sure. Her or her boyfriend, Hanamura, didn't even get damage. His car just doesn't have the pace. The S14 is just notoriously bad in this category, no matter how it's set up. And Hanamura is learning that, as he's actually behind Hutao on pace, and Hutao got damage on lap 1 while Kazuma Hanamura did not. This is going to be close for 5th here. Corpella has a bit of a run on Grimes, has a bit of a run on Noir. Oh, the 115 so wanted to send that. Again, 2 other drivers that don't show up too often, so it's neat that they are, here today and doing rather well. They're keeping up with one of the series' higher tier drivers here. But there was not much keeping up with the front 2, and there was definitely not much keeping up with Rain. Once her RX-7 got into the latter half of the track, she had the whole thing under control. Final turn, Nijika, Rain. It doesn't rain too often in the desert, but tonight, rain is not falling. It's not Africa, don't make a Toto reference, the actual backhand you, but Rain is victorious at Yas Marina. At less than 10 inches per year, but I guess the desert's gonna get some rain today. There we go, that's the one-liner we wanted. To the continent of Europe for the first of 2 times this week. We head to Alsace, the village layout, because we've already done the 525 class, so we're not going to run at the test track. The 715 class is instead racing here, as opposed to the 640 class that raced here the last time. And I think those are pretty much the only 2 times in recent memory that this track has been visited at all. So we're going to see the full versatility of this layout today. Well, that was an interesting panning shot. We are green from Alsace. Eric Wojciechowski started second, is going to instantly get ahead of Logan, who was our pole sitter. So he'll lead us through turn 1. Rain with a 4th consecutive race start. And it looks like she's going to be the only one to continue that. No signs of Noir nor Silica in this race. It is just Rain. He was under threat from the 46th of Dick Trivial. The POD driver is a new car, which we don't do that doesn't happen often. Russell Wagner already has damage on his C7 Corvette. He had to go all the way back to the first corner, unsurprisingly, and he just... Okay, oh, he was not prepared for that checkup. That's what happened. Gets into the back of Sienna. The Viper is damaged by that contact, though. They're 3 wide as well. 3 wide with his teammate, no less, as well as Sienna on a rival team. They're still 3 wide as they both catch Kramer at the apex of turn 2. It looked like Wagner tried to put the bumper to the back of Bernice as well, but just didn't. There's a misread on the situation, or if he just didn't have the momentum. Oh, he did get into her later. And forcing a lane down the inside at the hairpin there, so Wagner is known to be a little more aggressive among the Urban Estates newcomers, so I guess we're seeing that today. Not always seeking contact for contact's sake, but he's not afraid to trade some pain if it means he grabs a position or two. As we've already seen, he just kind of intimidated Bernice out of the way, and Bernice isn't really easy to intimidate. Nobody on Demon Sports particularly is, except maybe Lily and Thea. Eric De La Cruz also has damage on this first lap, but it's oh, it's with Stuber. De La Cruz's team owner had a beef with him a long time ago, but never involved Tyler's teammates. Snyder misses! Ooh, that's a big contact for the Viper. He waits until the whole field goes by before he puts it in reverse. But that is an ugly spin for the 141 car. A handful of other cars are going in on lap 1 that I have missed. Some of these I know, others I don't. Okay, well that's how Tomlin and Mercer got damage. Just aggressively taking the apex. Mercer was not prepared for it. That is where the bumper was put to Bernice. Bernice was taking that long left rather slowly. This is also where we'll see how Tyler gets his damage. Running to the back of his teammate, Tank Tomlin. So, not a great move from him, but he also couldn't really do much about it because Aspinall was pushing it on her way into that hairpin too. That's all the replay cameras caught. Wagner is not pitting for his bumper damage. I'm truthfully not too surprised. We've got Fernando Ferdinand for company in the Maserati. Had a peek down the inside, but it's never gonna work. A lot of red cars in this part of the grid. There's also a red car in the lead. Riza and Eric are kind of in a slight breakaway. That's still on McLaren 2-3 at the moment, which is interesting. Excuse my throat. Francesca is spinning the car. Too aggressive on the brakes. Her relative, I think brother, is going to do the same thing. Two Fidanzi family drivers are going to fuck up the same corner, and Fernando's going to rejoin directly into my car and give me damage too. Mamma mia, that's a spicy... It's spicy alright, I don't know what else to say. Fernando, your lucky Coca-Cola is picking up the tab on this car. And do that to my Murcielago, that another one of your family members bought for me, and that's your ass. Misses the braking point, but finds the back of Dick Trivial, so that's going to damage his car. The camera was not very good. He just whips his braking point, bumps into Dick Trivial. That's actually what throws him offline. But he was never going to get that stopped in time if that Viper wasn't there. He didn't really get it stopped in time either way. So currently the count of vehicles that have not gotten damage in this race is 6. No. 5. 5 cars did not get damaged. That is a passing zone to choose, Wagner. I guess he did have a pretty big run. Logan tries to turn him. Probably for running into Bernice, if I had to guess. He wanted to go back down the inside too, but thought better of it. Oh, nearly turns him on exit. Still could not make the contact. Logan is like... He's got like the angel and devil on his shoulders. Fun not intended. I think every part of his brain wants to wreck the guy, but he also knows that it's not really a way an admin should carry themselves. Especially not for minor contact, even if Wagner did blare the horn at Bernice. cutting a little ways through lap 4, primarily because my throat had a moment. I kept coughing through most of... Bumper to the back of the 226, barging Rain out of the way with some late braking. That is going to damage the SLR McLaren, so that brings the count down to 4. Yeah, right, because Wagner has damage, he just isn't pitting. Kramer, Kuhl, Stout, and Gwiazdowski are the only drivers to make it through the race so far without damage. Wagner is contributing a lot to that. He damaged Rain, he damaged Dick Trivial, he damaged Bernice, but not all of it. It's not all his fault. But it's a lot of it his fault. It's more than usual. So cut ahead to the end of lap 4, the start of the final lap. Rain has to pit for that damage. Wagner is not making any friends out here, that's for sure. He's ticked off Demon Sports, he's ticked off Art of Speed, he's probably ticked off, who else did he hit again? Oh, he probably ticked off Mopar as well. He hit Dick Trivial a couple laps ago. Let's see if he can manage to tick off anybody else. He's got Team AMT and Scuderia Fadanzi ahead, two other teams with no lack of relevance in the current state of the series. Obviously, Urban Estate itself is relevant because it's recently reappeared in the Challenge series. But they're not gonna make much of a reputation of themselves if they got drivers like this running around. It's not like he's not against the rules. He's not gonna get penalized for this. It's just one of those things of like, judge not lest ye be judged yourself. You're gonna bump people out of the way. You're not gonna play nice. Nobody else will. We got a big run off of the would-be carousel there. Does not make contact with the other SLR, because he didn't need to. Reiser's gonna go back down the inside though, forcing her front bumper, so Wagner cannot properly attack Gwiazdowski, as he has to kind of, correspond to that. Final set of turns. Wagner's gonna have to dive pretty badly, and that's exactly what he is doing. Barging the 67 car right out of the way, and he is coming to the finish line. Russell Wagner doesn't damage the 458, but it's the principle of the thing is he's gonna claim the victory. Eric's still second, Reiser third. Logan a distant fourth, holding off Rain to the line. And so the final tally will be 4 cars will make it through this race without damage. Eric, Reiser, Logan, and Sebastian Kramer. We'll get a more clear view of the attack. Yeah, this is not the braking zone. The braking zone is like just a little after where Reiser's car is. This is where Wagner is on the brakes. There's no way he's stopping this car unless he's in a Group 2 or something. If he's in like a C7R, maybe. That's pushing it. But yeah, that is a very blatant, kind of ridiculous dive bomb that just happens to work. And he wins the race off of it. Eric, I don't really know if he's a vengeful guy or not. I know his team kind of has some reservations about that kind of thing. It's going to be interesting to see what comes of this race for Russell Wagner, and by extension for all of Urban Estate, really. There weren't many other Urban Estate cars in this race. We had, that has not been a week for Scuderia Finanzi. Eric gets second, sure. But other than that, they finish 19, 20, and 14. Maybe these two just realized they weren't really equipped to run well, so they just decided to run, with each other. Quality time with La Familia. I can't curl my L's or R's, so I'm not Italian enough for that. But yeah, the other Urban Estate cars on the track, we have Dylan Mercer, and I think that is it. Yeah, Urban Estate is still kind of developing their lineups and their car rosters at the moment, for the most part. A lot of the new guys, Wagner, Baptiste, Mercer, Milner, Hawkins, they don't have as many cars yet. We got Rollins with basically every category, and we got Madison Palmer with a few, but that's about all they have for depth at the moment. Son of a bitch, we're staying in France. Yeah, we are going to completely forego the Americas this week, as despite the usual big event clause that the Circuit de la Sarthe holds for running Challenge Series events at the track, I guess they just didn't do that this week. I know the main reason for that isn't like prestige or anything. It's primarily just because it has to be something worthwhile to keep the track open. My only guess is that because we're not too far away from the actual 24 hours of Le Mans, or for that matter, our own 24 minutes of Le Mans, that the track is already kind of set up and is just there. So we're running the roulette race here this week. The green flag is out. Spot the four-wheel drive vehicle. Although it's not going to last too long, that Urus is 675. There's a lot of 750 class in this race. If we add the street and race, 750 street and 750R together, there's six. No, Aspinall was going for the lead, but she has completely whiffed a Dunlop chicane, and neither will take full advantage in the 296. Holy cow, Rain! Oh boy. Yeah, so she's gonna sweep. Nijika Rain, after winning at Abu Dhabi earlier in the week, will be managing to race every event this week. Although I don't think she'll have too much success in the GT1 because this is a straight line oriented track. Oh, contact. Aspinall did not know. No, she didn't know I was there. She was being held up by the Urus, and she was just trying to get by. Yeah, there's 6 cars in 750 between the R and street versions. And there are also a bunch of cars in 600, which doesn't really surprise me, because neither of those two classes got their own dedicated race this week. So Neely's got herself a pretty comfy lead early on in the race, able to basically use Corpella as an obstacle to get her well ahead of her closest competitors. Isabel wanted to pass at the chicane, but couldn't get it done. As for me, I wasn't too stressed about, Buck, as the POV driver, getting by. I literally moved over on the second half of the straightaway and let Isabel pass because she's going to sneak around the outside just before braking for the hairpin and get it stopped. They're both a little sideways there. That was neat synchronization, guys. What the fuck? But there's so many 750R cars, or just 750S and R, that I really didn't have to worry about any of them. I probably would have a top speed advantage over Rain, or Lightning back here in 12th in his GTR. Not to mention Rain has damage. My concerns were Nozomi, Logan, and Katie. And 2 of those concerns were knocked out very early. In fact, 2 of those concerns knocked themselves out, as Katie and Buck, to a lesser extent, checked up as they were behind Bradley Hunter up there, and they were trying to slot in ahead of Siegfried Brandt and the F13 back here. And they got a little clumsy. Rain also got damage on the first lap, and here she tries to outbrake Nozomi, but the car wouldn't move over far enough. She was on the steering and everything, the car just wouldn't go over. I think she was bottoming out, by the looks of things there. Didn't matter too much to Nozomi, her car was already damaged from running into the back of Katie, so she couldn't really talk. Cutting ahead to about the 3-minute mark. The field's pretty spread at the moment. Near the front. I say that like Nozomi's not right on my tail, but I wasn't concerned about that because she has damage. I was just trying to make sure I didn't get in her way, because she could still give me damage. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Buck go on the attack here, considering what Russell Wagner did to his teammate, Bernice, in the last race. No, on Wednesday. No, that was the last race. And here we are. Nope, Wagner's just gonna get out of the way. He does not want the smoke. He may be an aggressive driver, but I guess he's not that stupid. Just took the wrong lane, long line through the little mini chicane, got on the brakes and everything. He did not want to bother the 666 car. I'm not sure you could really blame him. Yeah, such as the performance deficit here, we're seeing Lightning struggle to overtake his satellite team owner. Actually, I'm just trying to put the bumper to the back of Logan. It worked. What the fuck? It's not the first time Lightning's crashed into Logan either. Seems to be a bit of a goofy driver when he's around his team, his satellite team owner. And now, oh, I hate saying this, Buck is going to try and pass Isabel. I hate saying most things that revolve around Buck, but the relationship here is weird. Looks like the challenger will be clear-ish. Nope. Well, he's gonna break way later, so I guess that'll do it. And we'll see if he can get on with it and catch up to the Ferrari 296. Looks to be about, oh god, I don't even know how far ahead that thing is. Buck can hardly even see it. That's a white dot up there. Isabel had the run, but backed out of it and broke early. Oh, she crossed him over. Buck can't turn for the chicane in that big-ass demon, and Isabel knew it. And so she is gonna steal second back from the Dodge and be too far away to be re-overtaken by the time we get down to the Mulsanne hairpin. She even breaks the toe a little bit and everything. And know your enemy, know yourself, I suppose. Surprisingly, Larson stayed ahead of Logan despite being way down on top speed on the back stretch. Corpella currently leads the 675 class with its, I think, 3 contenders, himself, Wanda Glass, and Iris. Because that's 640, that's 715, 750R, 715, and everything else behind Katie is 600. A category which Siegfried Brandt is currently leading, and it's not even close. Oh, Barbara's back here. That's a 640 car. I was not aware she was back here. So, she and Bradley are the only 640 cars in the race. 3 675s. 6 750s. 5 600s, I think? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. Yeah, so 6 750 class, 5 600 class, 2 640 class, 3 675s. And 4 715s. Buck remains within striking distance of Isabel as we begin what will be the final lap for probably the whole field. I don't know, the 600 class, some of them might struggle to get to the line in the next 2 minutes, given where they are right now. But we need to keep the cameras here. This is the battle for the overall win. All 3 cars are pretty close together as we head down the hill. And we will soon be on the Mulsanne straight for one final time. Angelos applying pressure to the Ford GT. Isabel not easily cracked, apparently. Her mentality is, and Isabel's now applying the block on Buck. They are bump drafting to get up to Nilu. That is the new one. Oh, but Isabel's gonna close most of that distance under the brakes. Holy shit. I'm not sure she broke that late to catch Nilu or to get away from Buck. It's not really clear, all things considered. Some top speed conga line down the second half of the Mulsanne. Looks like Buck is gonna bump draft again. That'll push Isabel right up to the 3 car. Camera looks weird. Down the inside, the 29 is gonna take the lead with assistance from a completely different team and a completely different car. Jesus. That's just Buck trying to be a kiss ass. I know it, but for once I'm sure Isabel's not going to be complaining about Buck. Nilu cannot get late enough on the brakes to try and steal the spot. Isabel's sideways on the exit, but it doesn't seem to have affected anything. She still has more overspeed compared to the Ferrari, whose hybrid is starting to run low on charge. Nilu's gonna go for it at Indianapolis. Isabel's not gonna take it. Wait, no, which one's Indianapolis? I think it's actually the left, not the right. Maintains traction on the exit of Arnage. That's the last really good braking point on the track for an overtake. You can get a pass in the Ford chicanes, but it's usually really tricky to do. So I think that may have just sealed it for the Ford GT. Buck is struggling to even keep up with these two. These are cars that are built for a track like this. The race trims have raced here competitively multiple times. Run up to the Ford chicanes, and I think Isabel has the better exit through the Porsche curves. Yeah, she has it. Ford chicanes, Ford GT, and NFR Ford is 2 corners away from taking the victory at Le Mans in this roulette race. So Isabel wins with some help from 3rd place Buck Angelos. Nilu is going to be right in the middle of them. Russell Wagner, a distant P4 in another vehicle that was also built for this place. I will win the 715 category with a bit of company, but Lightning Larson was never really my concern. He closed up so quickly on me through the Porsche curves, but he just couldn't be bothered to even try and pass. Probably knowing better than to try and risk damaging my car for a position that doesn't really mean anything to him. Ursus Corpella will win the 3-vehicle 675 class over Wanda Glass and Iris. Pretty convincingly too, I would say. Bradley Hunter wins the 2-car 640 category, although most of that is just down to the fact that Barbara got damage on the first lap. And Siegfried Brandt will pretty convincingly win the 600 class over Nico, Pepper, Michiko, and Kyoko. These two are not guys I would have expected to see at Le Mans, of all places. But Isabel is the overall winner in one of the more unusual battles to the finish that I can recall ever seeing.